MinkLife Live, and I'm so happy to be here today. Happy International Women's Day. We're going to have a great show. Today, our theme is about build life balance. And are you struggling with work life balance? Let's get the show started. Hello, welcome to the season 4 of our amazing podcast. I'm here with Omolola and Lori, and I'm Denise Belisle. So I'm so happy to be here with you. We are, be a co-host on the couch. So when you see the comment, when you're watching this, you can comment on the chat. We can see your comment, and we'd love to hear from you from the couch. So don't be afraid to interact with us as you're listening to this amazing show. So now we'll meet the co-host. We have Omolola and Lori. I'm so happy to be here with you ladies. And let's get started with the first question. Why is building a lifestyle important for professionals to thrive in life and business? Let's start with Omolola.
All right. Thanks so much, Denise. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I think it's really important to create that lifestyle because everyone needs a time to process things, a time to let me use the word rest. It's not always just about just going and keep living. That life has to be full. So every aspect of one's life needs to be celebrated, needs to be honored. And I feel when one is able to create a lifestyle that allows one to thrive both in one's, personal life and business, that's when one is really enriched. I had the pleasure of meeting with a student yesterday. I'm a learning coach for a program, and she wants to finish courses in about she wants to do like 20 courses for next spring. And I said to her, take a deep breath. This is not your life, this is just part of your life. So having a full life to me means seeing every aspect of my life as an important part of me. So I think that's why it's important to build a lifestyle to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Malala. I can't imagine taking 20 courses, by next spring, even if it's like a year, it's like so much. It's like too much. Like
Plus she works. Plus she works.
so I hope you put some sense into her.
Yeah.
And Lori, what's your take on that? So why is building a lifestyle important for professional to thrive in life and business?
I don't see too much of a difference between life and business. Like, I much prefer to look at it as a life and business integration, because balance means everything's getting equal. And that's not always the case, and nor should it be. Everything needs to be integrated so that you are living a life. Like, what is a lifestyle? It's the way you live your life and what is important to you. So I think it's important to define your definition of, what do you want your life to look like? What are your values? How would you like to live to steal the phrase from Oprah, your best life? So creating a lifestyle is just really about creating the life that brings you joy and lights you up and fills your soul. So how do you do that within, if it's in a business context, within a like outside of business, putting all of those pieces together, that's your whole life. Living, in insurance world, it's like that whole life policy. I think of that as like what you're creating here. You're creating your whole life as one thing. They're not separate. You're not one person over here and another person over there and a third person. It's how can you integrate all of those aspects into yourself to be completely integrated?
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. I like your idea that, yeah, because who we are, whether we are in our business or whether we are in our personal life, like it's who we are, and our brain is still thinking different things, right? So, like it's still integrated in all the link. The way I see it is when I work on my schedule, every Sunday I sit down and I look at my week and I plan my week. I always work on the first thing I write in my agenda is my me time, the things that I will do for me that if without a doubt, nothing will get in the way. Just like if I had an appointment with a client, I put myself first. And by doing that, it allows me to at least not be able to say at the end of the week, oh, I didn't have time. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to go get my haircut. I don't have time to have my manicure. I don't have time to have a bath. Like that eliminates that because you book it in your calendar and you make it as precious. Doesn't mean that, just like you were saying, Laurie, that doesn't mean that you have to, if there's 24 hours in a day, let's say 8 hours for sleep, so there's 16 left. So you do, you know, the rest, like a third for life, work, and home environment, like, but if you schedule maybe even half an hour a day, an hour a day for yourself, that's life balance, in a sense that at least you value yourself, you take care of yourself, and you know that you have that time that you can look forward to. Let's say it's taking a bath in the evening, and that relax you before going to bed, so that allow you to clear your mind. Well, if you schedule it and you say, okay, at 8 o'clock I go get my bath, regardless of what happened. If you have children, you make an arrangement with your spouse to say, your partner to say, you take care of them if they're still up from 8 to 8:30. This is my bath time where I'm going to relax, and then, whatever. But make that agreement with the people around you, if you have other people that depends on you, and work on putting yourself first, and then all the rest will be so much easier. For me, I like to work out in the morning, and when I work out in the morning, the rest of my day goes so much better. I have so much more energy. I have lots of pep in my step, and I'm excited to the day. But if I get out of bed and sit here, I'm like, oh, no, it's difficult. I'm tired. But when I go and do things for myself, then my energy goes up. So that's how I see that. It's the best way for me to have balance between professional and personal life, is to really take care of myself first. So thank you, lady. I appreciate your input too. So now get motivated with today's focus. Why are you passionate about helping people with work-life balance using your zone of genius? I will ask Omolola this time.
All right. That's such a huge, topic for me personally, as a person. You know, per, and it's my personal experience. I'm going to share about 3 years ago. I came to a point where I had to address some issues for myself, health wise, and it had to do with the way I had treated myself over the years, in trying to build my business. Um, and I just realized that, just putting all those time, putting like maybe sometimes sleepless nights, because I do have, the opportunity of helping folks raise funds for projects, even internationally, and just all that time I put in. And my body had to tell me to take a step back and really look at how I was living. And that was when I started prioritizing myself. I'm prioritizing, what I do, even in business. So I love to help women when it comes to finances. However it is, it however it presents itself to them, whatever stage in the journey they're in. Just understanding it, being able to understand how money works, being able to see it as, a priority, not really in the sense of numbers, but more in the sense of your lifestyle. What do you want for yourself in the next 5 years, when you're not actively working your business? How do you want to see yourself, and how can we make sure that our current form of currency, which is, the current energy flowing through that is money. How does that work for you? And a lot of times I find that when people don't understand how money works, do not understand, have not taken the time to really appreciate who they are and what they want from living, so that we can use these tools to help, it really affects professional relationships, personal relationships. A lot of spouses do not communicate fully because of financial issues. It just affects a lot of things. So I want to bring in that sense of, I want to call it a peace of mind, when you're able to understand how money works, see it as a partner, as a form of energy in the movement that you're creating around yourself and your family, and really understand it so that it becomes easy, it becomes simple to have conversations around it, and the emotions that present from not being able to see that as a key factor in how relationships play out, are taken care of, so you're not resentful, and you're not sad, you're not depressed, because you've taken that baton and really understand how your money works. And that way, your health is wealth. Your health benefits from it, because then the body won't present in with maybe high blood pressure and all those kind of things, just because there's an imbalance in understanding the finances. Thanks.
Thank you, Omolola. Yeah, for sure. Like it's like, and especially when you talk about wealth, I mean, the role that you play with people to assist them into not getting stressed over money, at the same time being able to foresee the future and build their wealth. I mean, it's super important to
Yeah.
have that balance, for them to not get all stressed out about it. So, Lori, what's your take on that? So, why are you passionate about helping people with work-life balance using your zone of genius?
I love this question. And I'm going to go back to something that you said, Denise, earlier about taking time to recharge. It's so important because we have been conditioned, most of us, and especially in the United States, to believe that success comes from hard work, that you have to work hard to be successful. And that is a big, fat, freaking lie. It is not true. But we've all bought into it, and it's been wired into our brain. So we can say, yes, I agree. You don't have to work hard to find success. And yet we still do it because we know that on an intellectual level, but the brain is still wired to believe that thing. And so rewiring your brain is what I'm so passionate about, helping people to rewire their brain, to rewire their beliefs, because your beliefs are what drive your actions, and your actions are what drive your outcome. So if you want to have different outcomes in your life, you need to come back to rewiring your brain so that it serves you better. And what you were talking about in terms of taking time to schedule out for recharging, we find this, we have this belief, or we do this thing where, especially the high achievers who I work with, work all the time and say, yes, I will take time to recharge or to go play and to have fun and to live the rest of my life after the work is done, after I'm done with the work. And the work is never done. So they never get to that point of being able to take time and relax and recharge. Okay, but what if you had to, like, that was a requirement to take that time to recharge, was a requirement to reach this success, however you want to define the word success. That recharge time was required in order to reach the level of personal or professional growth that you're looking for. And the truth is, it is actually required. We just kind of have it twisted in our head. So I love working with people to help them see that they can live this sabbatical life. I created a program called Living the Sabbatical Life, which does not require taking off a month or a year I did take a month-long road trip sabbatical with my 19-year-old cat, but and I wrote about it actually in a book called Love Warriors: The Conscious Expert's Guide to Healing, Joy, and Manifestation. It's just available on Amazon. So my chapter in there talks about that, but you don't have to take a month off or a year off. You can live a sabbatical life in your everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea, to be able to actually consider yourself as if you work because you want to work. Because when you consider work as a chore, then it's a chore. But if you do what you love and you learn to do what you love, then it's not a chore. So for me, when I feel passionate about helping people in my life, like as a serenity expert, I've been dedicating my life to support people to eliminate the stress in their life. And the way, and why I'm so passionate about that is I see around like people living stressed over stress over stress over stress over stress. And I call that the sustained stress. And that's what create imbalance in your life. That's what create illness, disease, and death. So the idea behind what I do is really to help people be who they are. I don't change their environment. They are in an environment where there's different stress, there's different ways, things happening in front of them. But what I do is I support them to see life differently. To a stressful event today, a year from now, will not look the same to them. And they won't get all crazy over their life. And they will just see it as like, okay, well, it's just the way it is. And I can't do anything about it. I can only move forward and make some changes in my life according to what just happened, instead of going, oh, my life is over, I'm gonna die, it's crazy, my kids are gonna hate me, whatever that is, right? So that's why for me it's so important to help people rewire their brain so that they can see the life that is in front of them. We don't ask anybody to change in their life. We don't ask any situation to change. All they do is themselves. They change the way they see life. They remove the filters of stress that they've learned over years and years of conditioning, that this is stressful, this is stressful. You should be angry about that. You should be, happy about that. And then really discovering what's true to them and allow them to move forward by being more happy and not being so stressed out. So for me, that's a passion. Like I totally love that. And then that creates a balance, because if you live in the stress, it's like having your hand on a hot plate constantly. And it's like, yeah, that's really hot, but oh my goodness, how am I ever going to get my hand out of that? But then you're just like, hey, that's hot, I don't want to touch that. And then you walk away. So that's just the way I help my clients. So I'm super excited when I do that. So thank you, ladies. They were great answers. So now let's stay inspired. So our next question is, how has your life been a problem for you in the past, and how did you overcome it? And then we'll start with Lori this time. So how has your life been a problem in the past, and how did you overcome it?
So as a high achiever, I bought into that hard work is going to bring me success. And so working 15 hours a day, and when things weren't going the way I would have expected them to, or I would have liked them to, I will just dig in and do more. So let me do more of what's not working, because that might work. So, but I've done it at the expense of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people watching probably can relate to this. And it was almost like I could see it happening, but I couldn't do anything. I didn't know how to live differently. So I didn't know how to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. And so many relationship has been dismantled because of that, because either both or one of the partner were hyperachiever, having to reach even more, work even harder. And then it leaves someone behind that is needing that love and that closeness. And the person is like, yeah, but I need to get that promotion. I need to get that next level. I need to, and in reality, they lose track of what's behind them, which is the relationship with their spouse, perhaps their kids. You hear all those stories that the kids never seen their dad, right? He was working from leaving home at 7, coming back at 8, and the kids go to bed at 7, and they wake up in the morning, dad's already gone. So yeah, balance is always important. So Omolola, what do you think about that? Omolala?
I totally agree with you both. I share somewhat the same, story with you, Laurie. Although I was not outside of my home, I've always had my business. I've been in business for myself for about 14 years. But just, still trying to be the high achiever, still, being there for my growing children, and really resenting the way my husband slept. I'm like seriously feeling so upset that he gets to sleep, and because I had all these I also do international funding, and I do funding within the US, so just having to meet with a lot of people all over the world, so that's different hours, and it all came to a head. Like I said, I had to make some changes in 2019. My body started presenting with all sorts of ailments that I've never really experienced. That's another, but that was a culmination of me not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
And the fact that I had a lot of high expectations for not just for myself, but everybody around me, my children, my husband, the relationship was, it was just, when you start to notice these things and look within oneself, I think that's the first thing, to look within and decide, okay, all this is coming from me. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
It's my fault. So if I can change and switch things around, things will be better. And that's what I started doing,
That's
first
awesome.
and foremost, agreeing that, yes, there's a huge problem here, and it's me, and so I just stopped. That was the first thing. Stopped, slow down. So I'm not trying to rush my child to dance because we just have to be there in time. No. We enjoy the process. If we get there late, we get there late. It is okay.
Yeah.
And so with my life, just making it more accessible to talk, expressing how I felt to my husband, because I felt, a lot of times I used to say things in my head but never really expressed it and expected him to know.
Mm-hmm.
So just having more conversation, being more expressive in that way within my, and with my business, I decided to do a 4-day work week. And for the last 3 years, I only work Monday to Thursday. That was the way of helping myself, because I was always on it, even though with business, like I was working, I enjoy what I do because I get to meet a lot of people internationally and all that. But, it was just becoming so much. So, and then understanding, as women, how we work, because we work to the tune of our bodies, kind of, the cycles that come. So we have our times when we're very strong, and we have times where we just need to chill, relax,
Yeah. I
So
imagine that making those changes must have a big impact on your family.
it did very much so, very, very much so, and just growing from there. So right,
Yeah.
my motto really now is slow down. I always slow down,
Perfect.
ex, taking every moment has something to offer you. So learn from it, whether it's business or, personal relationship or something, yeah.
Thank you so much, and I hope people get some benefit out of that, listening to you, because sometimes we feel that we got to go faster and faster and do more and more from the two of you, your comments, and it's in reality, slow down. By slowing down, we waste so much less time, because when we spin our wheel, we're not moving, right? We're just spinning our wheels and then we're not moving forward. And so what happened to me is 25 years ago or so, I discovered emotional intelligence. And when I discovered emotional intelligence, what led me to discover that I was not reading other people's emotion very well. So that was one thing. I was oblivious of what people felt around me. And also I became 100% responsible for my life. So I eliminate from my vocabulary, it's not my fault. They did that. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. And once I started doing that, it was not easy. It took a while to put that road, to dig that ditch, the positive ditch, to change, because I was on that groove there. It was really easy. It was not my fault. He did that. It's not my fault. So when I started changing my mindset towards, it's my responsibility. I created this. It's thanks to me I'm succeeding, and thanks to me I'm not succeeding. So what should I do different? Because it's me. It's only me. So that totally changed my life, and the outcome is now. I mean, I never say it's not my fault, right? It's always like, okay, what could I have done differently? If you get into a car accident, well, I took that road this morning, or I left at that time. I was on that path. So, and my mind was not paying attention to what's going on around me. And I got into this accident. I could have avoided it. I could have, like, there's so many factors. Sometimes people say, yeah, but there's things you can avoid. Well, there's regardless, if you take responsibilities, then you take your power back. When you say it's not my fault, you say, okay, you take my power and you do whatever you want with it. And that's made a big difference in my life, to make some changes towards how I want. So thank you so much, lady, for all your answer. That was pretty good. So now we're going to go with the last tips, I think, right? Who should you ask for help when you are trying to create a work-life balance? So these are quick questions. Let's start with Lori.
That's an interesting question, because most people, I would think, are going to go to their friends first to ask for help. And that is, of course, that's why we have friends. That's why friends are so important. And at the same time, your friends are your friends. So they're going to want a coach is really a better person to go to ask for help in that kind of situation, because they're going to be able to see things from a what's the word I'm looking for? Outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
When your friends they don't want you to change, because that means they're going to have to change. So they may not be able to support you in the way that you really need support. And that's why a counselor,
Mm-hmm.
a coach, a therapist, somebody outside of your friend circle is really the best person to help you with that.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lori. What about you, Omolola? What do you think?
Thank you. Yeah, I would say, at least at first, identifying the areas where you need the help. For me, it's very key at first, and then in that process, because one can find the you said, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Mm-hmm.
Really. So your teacher would take on different forms depending on what the issues are. I mean, from my own experience, I had to have conversations with my spouse about some things, and he helped me see, because he's a key person in the whole thing, and we could, share my, with my business. Yes, I do support what Lori said. Get a coach, get the help from an expert, but you have to build the relationship. So allowing oneself to intuitively, be guided to who your teacher is, to me, is very key. But and some when I was going through that journey, one or two friends popped up. They're not friends who I because I knew their expertise in the areas where they were. So one is she's like an intuitive healer, and my mind went to her because I needed that support.
Yeah.
So just finding the right help, opening up, and looking out and walking the path, with coaches, life coaches, business coaches, people of maybe like mentors, people you revere and have like good regard for, that could possibly be of assistance in that area, who come out, whose maybe picture pops up or name just pops up, it's popping up for a reason. So
Yeah, follow your intuition for
yeah.
sure. That's
Thank you.
great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Omolola. And yeah, definitely, like even all of us, I'm sure here, we have coaches, we have people that we ask for help, and we don't depend on our friends either. And it's really important to seek that help. And if there's different way to seek that help. Like some people say, yeah, but I can't afford to have help. But there's way around. Like if you put your energy into finding inexpensive support, you'll find it. And you can ask your local area. Like I'm sure there are groups that are doing mentorship or that are doing mentorship program. I know here in Vancouver we have an organization that does mentorship, and you can apply for it, and then you get the help you need without having to spend money. So look around for organization that can support you. And that same organization, they're supported by the government. I know in the US it's different, but in Canada the government is sponsoring that organization. And anytime I can walk in and ask for help for my business and organizing a business plan and all that, I don't have to pay. I just go in, book an appointment, and get some help. So look for organizations similar to that in your area, and you'll be able to get some help in order to maybe relieve some of that work pressure out of you, so that you can have more time, leisure time, and personal time into your life. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And many of us are doing discovery call or free calls, or however we call them, and maybe just go flower from one coach to the other and discover something that maybe you'll find that gem of a coach that is for you. And then they'll help you find ways to find money for you to be able to afford to have coaching. So just reach out, be open, and everything will show up for you. So right now, the last tip. So what is the one tip for calibrating your life by focusing on your lifestyle? And I'll start with Omolola.
I would say one thing is that it's okay not to do anything. Take that time, and when you find it that it's what is necessary for you to do nothing, please, it's all right. It's to do nothing.
Oh, that's great. I like that. And don't be guilty. Like too often people are guilty, right? When they say, no, I want to take time for myself. What about you, Laurie? What is the one tip for calibrating your life by focusing on your lifestyle?
I'm going to offer this, and it goes back to the last two questions as well, which is getting quiet enough to hear your own inner voice. Sometimes when you're seeking help from outside sources, everybody has an opinion, everybody has a recommendation, but what is your own inner voice telling you? And are you allowing yourself enough space and quiet time to get quiet enough to hear that? Because that's where your real true answer is going to come from. And so I teach people how to use meditation to do that. There are many different ways to do that, but meditation is one of the best and most, I mean, you talked about not having money to do things.
Meditation doesn't cost anything.
Does not cost anything.
You just sit quiet, take a few deep breaths, and go inside, right? And
yes. And there are apps you can use.
Of course. Yeah. And there's a lot of free apps on your phone that you can use. But also, just to emphasize more on meditation, is some people say, well, I don't have time to meditate, but meditation could be 30 seconds, right? It could be just like recentering yourself, taking a few deep breaths, and say, okay, I'm eliminating these thoughts, I'm welcoming new thoughts, and that's it, you did a meditation. For me, it's put your oxygen mask on first. Like I never talk enough about self-love and self-care and taking care of yourself first. Because if you're sick, if you have a family, let's say you have a family with a partner and kids, and if you are sick, if you are unable, if you're broken, then who's going to be around with the family? So take care of yourself first, feed your own energy, and then you'll have so much more to give to the people around you. So, and it's not, and again, we mentioned it, right? Don't be guilty. And it's just like Omolola was saying, like, do nothing. Like, be okay to not be active or proactive, and just chill and relax, do some meditation, get some time for yourself, and be happy. So that was a great call, lady. Thank you so much. And now we're going to have announcement. So each of us have a little something to announce, and we'll start with Omolola. So what do you have to bring with for people? How can people connect with you?
Really, I love to work with professional moms and wise women who are frustrated with money and finance and need to, need the clarity to and innovation, so, I'm able to help you with proven guaranteed strategies that the wealthy have kept a secret. You don't have to be wealthy to be wealthy. I would love to chat with anyone. So please click on the link that you see, Live in Abundance, I title it. I hope that would be helpful. And I'm looking forward to, having conversations with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Omolola. That's great. What about you, Lori?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit earlier about living a sabbatical life, so that it's not something that you feel like you have to escape from. So I have a guide called the 5 Easy Ways to Living the Sabbatical Life, and that is available for free download at my website, zenrabbit.com.
That's great. Thank you so much. It's super exciting. I'm going to go download it. And, and then for me, I invite you to experience the breakthrough system, because what the breakthrough system is a way for you to look at your goal. Like, where do you want to do? What do you want to do in your life? And how to narrow it down to knowing what you need to do right now so that you accomplish that goal. And everybody that I've done this system with, they're like, wow, I can't believe now I have a plan. I know where to go. I know what to do. And I will help you change the way you think about your life, change your mindset, and support you into, just like I expressed earlier, to be able to have the thing around you won't change, but the way you see them will change, and your life will just flourish. So that's just a way to work your life. Just be happy no matter what. So thank you so
What an
much.
amazing show, as always. Let's talk a little bit about the community announcements. If you loved this show and you love being a co-host on the couch, but you're like, hey, I actually want to be on the screen and join in on the conversation, go to MinkLife Motivation/live and apply to be on the show. We would love to have you. And if you love this, but you're on the go, know that we are also a podcast. You can listen to the Mink Live Motivation podcast anywhere you enjoy your podcast. And don't forget, we are here every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time and 2 p.m. on Thursdays Pacific time. So watch this show Wednesdays and Thursdays live or on the replay with the podcast. So we are so grateful for you. Denise, it's back to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much, ladies, for being part of this show. Happy International Women's Day to everyone that's listening. And I wish you an amazing week. It was a great show. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next time.